Kelvin? How about you, Kelvin?
Yeah, 7.
7 as well. Okay. Good. So for this chapter 9, hold on, let me present first. Okay, you all can see the slides, right?
Yeah.
You can see, yeah? Okay, good. So for this chapter, accessing database file, the chapters that you keep waiting for. Okay, so you're gonna deal with the data. But for this demo, it's actually you deal with the already database that's stored in project. Okay, but after this part, you're gonna deal with how to create that particular database already lah. Okay, so for the objective for this chapter, you have to use the database terminology correctly. Okay, then create the windows that display database data. You have the database, you have those data, but you don't have a place to display that. That's no point also. Okay, so display the data in data grid view control. You can also bind the data to text boxes and label, which means that those are ready data in your database. You can bind it to either you want to display it as a text box or you want to display it as a label. So allow the user to select from a combo box or list box and display their corresponding record in data bound control. This is another way. You can also make it to combo box or list box when you display it. Okay. So allow the user to update a data set in bound control. Data set to update it. So which means that if the user do some update, whether you want to save it or not, if you don't save it, you can't see the update the next time if you open it up. Okay. So Visual Basic and database files. For the VB project, can display and update the data from the database files. So a system is actually so-called a system when you can only manipulate the data. You can add in the new data, you can edit the data, you can delete, you can retrieve, you can display it. Okay, so the VB.NET uses the ADO.NET for database access, ADO.NET. So this is the next generations of the database technology based on the Microsoft previous versions, ActiveX Data Object ADO. So previous years still using the ADO, but now move to ADO.NET. Okay. So an advantage of this ADO.NET is that information is stored and transferred in XML. Okay, extensible markup language. So the terminology for the database tables, as what you have learned in database course, okay, can be viewed as a spreadsheet, like your Excel. A table is built up by records, the rows and column. So the rows is the record, the data for one item, one person, one transactions, one movie, one ticket, one booking. Okay, for a few, is the column. Stores a different element of data. If you store the student's data, so student ID is a column, student name is another column, age another column. Okay, so once you fill up the ID, name, and age for a particular student, that will be one record. Okay, so the key field unique to each record lah. That's the primary key that you have learned in a database. Same concept. Okay, key field here. So relational database, multiple tables. Definitely you have more than one tables. So relationship between the tables. Okay. So example for the database here, table 1, you have one table for the book. ISBN always for the book. So this is the book title, author, publisher. Okay. So that's a column. From the top to the bottom, that's a column. From the left to the right, that's the records, the rows that you have. Then this, obviously this will be your key field, your primary key. Because every single book, they have different ISBN. Okay, XML data. So this is actually industry standard format for storing and transferring the data. XML needed for accessing databases as well, and will be automatically generated in Visual Basic. So no worry about that. It's actually auto-generate. Okay, so data stored in XML is tags identified by tag, similar to HTML tags that can be edited by any text editor programs. But as mentioned here, it's automatically generated in VB.NET. So tags in XML are not predefined as they are in HTML that can identify fields by name. So sometimes when you drag and drop something, then you can see that your coding part is done. Okay, which means that later on now when you deal with some drag and drop for the data in the table, then you can find out from the coding part is actually some of the coding is already done for you. Okay. So in addition to an XML data file, there's normally an XML schema files. So the schema describes the fields, data types, and any constraints such as required fields. So this one again is actually based on the database that we have learned as well. Okay. So ADO.NET validates the data against the schema and checks for the constraint violations. Again, violations to check. Okay, whether it's violate any requirement or not. Okay, you set it as a required field, but end up something wrong there, or you set a certain constraint, but when the key-ins come in, the input coming from the user is something else, then violations. So all this can be checked. So schema is defined with XML tags and can be view edited in a text editor. So this ADO.NET can treat the XML data as object allows. The IntelliSense features, still IntelliSense, so which means that some of it are auto of the VS.NET environment to provide information to the programmer. So definitely data execute faster. So when you have the IntelliSense, some of it is actually, you can just select from the drop-down list that you have from there, which one is the best suit to you. So here is the introductions of ADO.NET. So that's the middle way to handle the data connectivity for your system, for your applications that you have with the database that you have. Okay, so whatsoever data applications that you have, okay, that's the middle way. ADO.NET that you're going to have, you're going to use later. That's the middle way. It's like a middleman. Okay, it's like the middleman to connect to the database that you have. Okay, so the database that here that you can connect it to all this. Okay, either one. Or in this is actually we don't need to use any of this. It's actually in VS is built in. Okay. So can using ADO.NET and Visual Basic can display data from a database on Windows form, web form. Can add control to forms and bind data to them using the label text box, or you can use a special control design just for the data, such as this data grid view that you have, data list that you have, those ready controls that you can find out from the toolbox. Okay. So for the data grid view, control here. So it's bound to a table in a data set. Okay. So all these terms, later we're gonna deal with it as well when we go for the demo files. Okay, I will go through the demo file with you all today because I'm using PC already since this PC is faster compared to laptop. Okay, so the data file, the data fields here display automatically in the cells of the grid. So later on, I'm going to deal with the data grid. Here, data grid view control. Okay, data grid view. So you all please open up your demo file.
Which one? Demo?
Chapter 9A.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hold on, let me stop sharing for a moment. Okay. So you need to open up data grid view1.vb. Okay. So which means that for this project, it's already connect to a built-in database here with a table called book. Is it a book? Yeah, book. Okay. So what you need to do is actually you need to come up with the data grid view from the data source. From the toolbox, because now you are dealing with component control. It's actually one of the control from your toolbox data grid view. Okay. So whenever you need to deal with the database, it's actually you deal with the data source here. Make sure you have all these connected with the database that you have created. Okay. But this one we will talk about it after this chapter, because you need to know how to show this and that first. Then later on we will move to how to create those things.
So this one can edit edit the records. Can
not yet, because we haven't touched it yet. But today we will cover that.
Okay.
Yeah, later. Okay, so you can just try to run it first and see what happened. And make sure the setup form should be your data grid view one.
so for now it just display.
Yeah, it just display. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Which means that you have data somewhere just now. It's actually, it will display the data from the tables that you actually call just now. Okay. So depends on how many records there, it will display that many records. Okay. So just display. That's normal. Okay. Excuse me. So how to do that? You can find out you have so many components some more at the bottom. Okay. So what I want you to do is actually, I want you to try to get the same thing displayed, which means that you just create another new form, okay, add another new item, okay, for the form, you add in. Okay, what I want to do for this font is actually you do your own testing, okay, you test it so that you can make whatsoever inside the table display on your new form, like what you have for this data grid view 1. Okay, you got what I mean, class?
We do now.
Huh?
Do now.
What I want you to do now is actually, I want you to create another new form which displaying the same thing like what you have in data grid view 1. Huh? Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just right click to add a new form. Just now, I already add in mine. Form 6. Okay. So you have your form already, huh?
Oh yeah.
From your
yeah.
toolbox, you can find the data grid view. You can just drag it. Don't click anything. Okay.
Okay.
So you can see the properties here is actually on the data grid view 1. Okay. So you can see there are a lot of properties here you can set. So you scroll down to the data binding, data source. Okay. Since already connected for you for this demo, so you just add in another product, other data source, project data source. Oops. Hold on. I clicked this wrong thing just now. Okay, I just start again. This one point mouse too sensitive. Okay, data binding, source 1, the book data set, and then you go back to this data grid. That's the data members there. Click on the book. Then you can see that all the fields under the books here come out.
Oh.
And then you can see that the 2 components are already there. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
You can see my screen,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, can.
So you want the
Got
component?
an extra book adapter one.
Yeah, not yet. Okay, so you go to toolbox again, pick the binding source. Okay. So you can check on this, you have to click this binding source, then go to the properties part, data source again, go and find the book's data set binding source. Okay, So once you click here and there, for the data member, choose the book. Yes, you can see my screen.
Oh, yeah.
So you come up with the binding source one already?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Binding source one, and then have you set the data source to book data set?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you
Okay.
get the book?
How do you get the
I
book?
cannot
Data
see.
member.
I
Data
cannot see.
member.
I cannot see the book. I cannot see.
Oh, you cannot see the book. Here?
Yeah, I don't
You
have the
mean
book.
this one you cannot see the book from here?
Yeah.
Did you bind to the book? Let me see. Oh, I think we go for the books data set. That will be better. Book data set. This one suppose no need. Hold on. Hold on, let me check. This is book data set. Did you connect to you actually open up your demo 9, is that?
Huh?
Demo 9, right?
Oh.
Just now hold on, I have to check mine also. Oh, here come none already, okay. Just now I directly from the data grid view, I connect to that data set. So in this case, because sorry, I have a bad throat today. You go back to your data grid view there, because just now we connect it straight to the data set. So now you try to connect it to the binding source one. Binding source one, because we forgot to drag the binding source come out just now also. Okay. Then you can see it's already filled up something for you at the coding part. At the coding part. So binding source, make sure you connect it to your data source is books data set. Okay, you check again, binding source, book data set, and then the data member is the book. Okay. So for the data grid view, make sure your data source to the binding source one. Okay. You check it, and then you change it to your own form and start to run it to see whether you have something there or not. To see whether you have something like what you have in the data grid view or not just now. If yes, done. Which means that you can now use a data grid control to display the data that you have inside this book table. Okay, inside this book table. Your try. Cannot find. Kelvin, you got it already? You try first. I need to drink some water.
Miss, nothing come up.
Is it supposed to go to?
Hello, yeah?
Is it 1111 and then title A, alpha A here like that?
You have the data come out or not?
Yeah, just 4 data and then 1, 2, 2, 2, 2,
Yeah. So which means that what you have is actually the same like what you have for the data grid view 1, is it? Just now I asked you to run one round for the data grid view 1.
Yeah.
Then you run another round for the forms that you have created just now. Yeah, both should be the same lah. Both should be the same. Okay?
Mine nothing come out.
Yeah, yours nothing come out.
Yeah. Why?
See? Maybe I stop sharing mine and see yours. Is it you have 1, 2, 3 components there? Same thing? Same as mine?
Mine got 4. The one extra is books data set binding source.
Okay, that one you can just throw it. Okay?
Okay.
You throw that. Hold on, class. I gotta collect my paper first in the printer outside.
Okay.
Hold on. Maybe I stop sharing. Okay. Farah, you project yours and see.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So Kelvin, yours good, no problem, can run,
Yeah.
So Farah, you project your, okay. Okay, you have this already. Binding. Okay, you click on the data grid. Let me check your properties. Okay. Yeah, you're selecting now. Okay. Check your data source and see. Binding source 1. So click on your binding source.
Which one? This one or
Binding source 1. Yeah,
this one?
that's the one. Yes, that's the
Okay.
one. Okay, your binding source. Let me check your data source. Book, data set, data member, book. Okay. Data source. So your data grid view is already updated the data source to binding source 1, right? Click again and see. Click it. Okay.
Binding source 1.
Okay, binding source 1. So seems like okay already. So you try to run it and see. Have you changed the startup form?
Yeah, it's from this one, from 1. This one. It come out like this.
But that's your adapter. It's correct. Your adapter is correct. Book adapter field. Made up book data set. Ngama. Book. So exceptions. Error pula. Noel, you have the same error.
Yeah, same. Even the data grid view 1 also cannot run.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you try to delete everything very fast one. Delete everything. Your design also delete, or you just come up with a new form also can. Okay.
Okay.
We try one more round. Okay. You don't take this one. You just come up with another new form. Okay. You create another new form. Add another new form. Right click. Chapter 9.
Oh, this one. Oh, okay.
Add new item, and then form. Yes. Go to your toolbox. Novel, you do the same thing and see. We go for one more round and see. Okay, go to your toolbox. Go to the binding source. Okay,
Not
your
the
data preview. Okay, never mind. And then you go back to your toolbox again. Take out another binding source. So one data grid, one binding source.
Okay.
Okay, so on your binding source component there, click it, go to the properties. Okay, so you check your data source. Okay, there's none, right? So you choose data set, books data set. Yes. So you can find out the books data set come out already, and the components there. All these are actually automatic.
Okay.
So go back to the same properties in the binding source. Binding source are still under that properties. So your data member, yes, click on that.
Book.
Choose the book, yes. Choose the book. Then, yeah. So now you go to your data grid view. You select your data grid view. Okay. Data source should be.
Data source.
Yeah. Binding source 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Straight away use binding source 1 because we already set our binding source. So you can see that the titles, everything, the headers happens at the top part already, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I think now okay already. You just change your starter form. Is that the form 1 again or what?
Yeah, form 1
Just now
again.
you delete the previous form 1, is it?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I create form 1 again.
Okay, same thing again. So try to run it and see.
Still habis.
Hey, still like that?
Yeah.
Still like that?
Maybe the version.
You are dealing with the demo, right? Demo chapter 9, right?
Yes.
You are not taking the new project and this and that,
Nope.
No.
No. Still the same. But this line is.
Just that I got update.
Check your data source and see.
Data source.
Where is your data source located? You can go to your view. Go to the view at the top. Menu bar there. View.
This one.
Is it under other windows? Let's check other windows.
Command Windows, web browser.
You should have the, hold on. The data source is not showing your environment. Is it show in on your environment there?
Where environment?
The grid, right?
your VS environment. See again. You go back to the view and see. View. Other windows don't have See other windows.
Property windows of Explorer.
How come your view is a bit different? You got and you type, you press on Shift Alternate and plus D, Shift Alternate D and see. Shift Alternate D,
Okay.
Shift Alternate D.
It goes to where is this? Debug.
It goes to this for you.
Yeah,
Right?
debug tab.
Yeah. Shift
Mine
Alternate
got
D.
the
You
data
got the
source.
data. You got the data source. How come this Windows? So you have the data source, Noel.
Oh yeah, the window.
You can see the data source now.
Oh yeah.
But Ferris here don't have Ferris, you just come up from here. You press on Shift
Yeah,
D together. One go.
yeah. Shift alternate D.
Oh, have to stop the debugging
Oh,
first.
okay.
You haven't stopped it. Yeah. Try again and see.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the books data set. Click it. Books. Okay. Now, while you have the same problem,
Oh yeah, same as Ferro.
same error.
Oh yeah.
How come? Did you do any changes on the whatsoever setting previously in your own environment, in your own VS environment?
I think just update lah. Update the VP. Oh yeah, that's all.
Update the VB.
Oh yeah, that's got update right? From the Microsoft. So yeah, I update every day. We've got update, I update lah.
Update.
But I don't.
Farah, you also update.
I haven't update like
But
this one lah.
show me the error again. Your line.
Okay.
But Kelvin, you did the same thing. Yours can run,
Yeah, I just copy everything. I just follow everything from the grid.
Mine also just drag, click, okay already.
Just follow the grid. Just the property all follow.
Property all follow, but whatever you need to set the property is only the data source and data member. That's it. Binding source, data member. Then data grid, connect to binding source. That's it.
If the property wrong, then got error.
But here, the error is here. This is the auto-generated form 1 lot. I just wonder your form 1, you have something else or not. How about you create another form 2 and see? Is it still the same?
Okay, I think.
Okay.
Do the same thing for the form 2 and see?
Okay.
Yeah. Don't take form 1 already.
Okay.
Take form 2.
Yeah, item Windows.
Okay.
Wait, is this correct?
From Windows, right?
Yeah, Windows form.
Okay.
Windows form. Form 2. Okay. 1 binding source, 1 data grid.
Binding source. On data grid.
Don't click anything. Did you click anything this time?
No.
No,
So binding source, the data source will be books dataset,
Mm-hmm.
and then the data member will be books.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Then
this
you go
one,
to
this
the
one,
data grid view. Change the data source to binding source 1.
binding source one. Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
data member don't have lah.
No, no. So now you change your startup form and see. Startup form. Change your startup form to form 2.
Form two. Form
Okay.
two.
You're still having problems, then I have to you have to check your environment. What have you set previously? Maybe. It seems like still so slow, huh?
Yeah, I got error. Same error.
Meet up book table editor. Dot field me books data set book.
SQL Server Stack.
Your data grid view 1 can run, is it?
No,
Huh?
Cannot also.
cannot
Cannot
open.
also?
Yeah,
Oh yeah. That's why.
I open this demo and then try to run, and then this one come out.
That one come out as well.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you try to open out your applications events.vb on your inside your Solutions Explorer and see your applications event.vb
Applications
on
event.
your left, the Solutions Explorer. Yeah.
This one.
Okay, you try to click my applications, double click it, double
This
click.
one. Okay.
Did you all do any setting?
I think no lah.
No.
I never touch this one lah.
Try to double click the applications events.vb and see. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. This one, I think.
Seems like your connections is not there. If you say data grid view is not running, you run one time or one round for this data grid view.
Data
Change the
grid.
startup form. Still same thing, Noel also your data grid view 1 cannot run.
Oh yeah, same.
Okay. Then maybe your connections already. When you have this long loaded list, then should be something wrong already. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, still the same.
Still the same, Then you're getting the same demo file from me, man, right?
Yeah.
You straight away open the solutions, right? It's not you open the project and then open up the demo.
No.
How you open it?
There's a
Straight
solution.
away double click.
Yeah, the solution.
Straight
The
away
demo,
double click the solution.
no change, right, Miss?
What?
The demo 9 like don't have no change, right, from the first post.
No changes. Because previously you all used a different environment, that's why I'm a bit concerned on that. But now you are dealing with the same project, same solutions. You just double click it this now, is it?
Yeah.
Same thing, but Kelvin's one can. Farrell, Noel cannot. Was there something wrong? But if you say the coding wise, and then your connections, you open up your data source again and see. If you cannot make this run, you cannot make your following demos run as well, no? You
This
have
one,
your book data set. You have your, hold on, books. Okay, so you open up your Solutions Explorer and see again.
so this one,
This one no problem, no problem. You have any MDF? Yes, you have the MDF. You have the XSD as well. Double click your books.mdf.
missing.
Install missing. Okay, install it. Try.
Okay.
No.
Connections,
Okay.
try. Okay, just.
Oh, the Mac.
Noel, yours also try and see.
Okay. Installing now.
Yeah, okay. I think need sometimes I hear. How come Kelvin's one on it, huh? Just install.
I think I haven't like when I first installed this, I haven't ticked the packages. I think maybe.
Never mind. We try this. Because if two of you having the same problem, must be something wrong already. Must be something common one wrong already. On your machine, like in this case, something missing already. Noel, you do the same thing, huh?
Okay.
Okay, never mind. So by the same time waiting, okay, we continue first, huh? By the same
Okay.
time waiting for that. So let me project my screen. Okay, because it takes sometimes. Okay, so we continue. Kelvin is the luckiest one today. Okay, so the next part, still the same. So data access in Visual Studio, a lot and easy way to create data bound control on the form. So you can see that not on your window on your screen, maybe Farah and Noel. But when I run mine just now, you can see that it's actually create the data bound already, controls on the form.
Can modify the data in the form when you open.
Can modify the data.
Like change the numbers.
Yeah, later we're gonna do that. So now can track the tables and fields from the windows as well. So which means that no need to use the data grid view. You can straight away drag the fields. Okay, drag the fields from the windows onto the form to automatically create control that are bound to the data. So you just drag and drop from your data source later. So data can be displayed in grids or individual fields referred to as details. So in this case, later on for the assignment, you think of whether you better to use data grid view or you better to use individual fields. Which one you think is more user friendly? Think of it. Okay, so but both you can do that. Okay, can drag the fields from the data source window and drop it on an existing control, causes data binding to be set up automatically as well. Okay, when you play around the drag and drop, data binding also set up automatically for you already. So an XSD file and the schema is added to the Server Explorer window. You can see that you have binding source, table adapter, dataset objects are added to the form's component tray. Those are the components at the bottom of the forms just now. Okay, so no matter you are using the data grid view or the data you just drag it from the data source later, it will actually set up all this. Okay, so binding source. What is the meaning of this binding source? It's actually to establish a link to the actual data that you have created. Okay, a specific file or a server. For the adapter, yeah, this is what Kelvin you asked just now. Handle retrieving and updating the data. So whenever you need to retrieve, you need to update the data. So we actually need to use this data table adapter. So generate SQL statement, they are used to access or update the data. So all this can be done. The data set here is actually the real actual data set you have created. So it may come from multiple connections and multiple data adapters. So your data set just now, that's your book data set. Okay, you are using the binding source to connect to your book. Okay. So the steps, anyone put something at the chat?
Yeah, me. Can already.
Can already, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the connections missing already lah. So Noel, I hope yours also can already, yeah.
Oh, haven't. Oh, can.
Okay, never mind. Maybe your machine have to wait a bit. Okay. So steps to display data in bound control on the form. So that's your data source, the specific files, binding source to link, and then this to handle your update or retrieve of the data, the actual data set, the actual data set you have, then to the Windows form or the web form. So these are the steps to display, just to display the data in bound control on the form, but you cannot see all this running at the back end lah. But you have to set it. You have to set it. That's why you have to set the data source. You have to set the data members. You have to set the data source again from the data grid view so that all these sources, all this data can be displayed later on at the data grid view. Okay. So objects, binding sources, object establish a link from a specific file or database to the program. Use the wizard to automatically create binding source object. Add new binding source object using the data sources window or the data menu. So in this case, once you just start to deal with this database, don't forget the data source window is important already. You have to always check back these data source windows. For the data table adapters, all the words passing data back and forth between the data source, which is the binding source that you have set, and a program, which is the data set. Okay. So data does not have to be from a database. Data can be text file, object, or an array. Transfer data to and from via XML. All these are actually done automatically for you lah. So the data set is actually temporary set of data stored in the memory for you to do your this and that lah. So in ADO.NET, data sets are disconnected. So the copy of the data kept in memory does not keep an active connections to the data source. So this one is a bit info for you when you deal with the ADO.NET data set. So data set may contain multiple tables and relationships. So any control bounds to the data set will automatically fill with data. So a lot of automatically works for you lah. Smart tag used for many functions, including selecting a data source, editing properties of columns, preview data. So preview helps user to a better job of designing output. Again, many automatically done for you. So when a new data source is added, so this one we're gonna touch on that next demo lah. Okay, next week demo. So data source added to a project. So you're gonna touch on how to add a data source to the project lah. So a file with this extensions .xsd. This will be added to the Solutions Explorer. So that's why from just now when I asked Farrell to check, seems like the .xsd is already added, okay, to the Solutions Explorer to ready for the connections. It's only some missing package. Okay, so XML files contain the descriptions and properties of the data. Schema shows the name of the tables and fields, primary key of each tables and the relationship among the tables. This one, the same concept as the database. So at the bottom of the schema appears the table adapter or the table which handle different methods for the table. So later on, we're going to deal with different update or retrieve for this table adapter. So this XSD files holds the schema of the database here. So where table elements, relationship, and the key can be viewed and modified. So from the books, you can double click on the XSD files. You can see something like this okay, something like this come out. You can do some overloaded functions inside it okay, some functions inside this XSD file. But slowly because today just touch on the database. So binding individual data field. Data field from the data set can be bound to many types of control. As mentioned earlier on, or during the objective also mentioned this, you can use the label, text boxes, combo box, checkbox, and other controls that are available. Then from there you choose, okay, let's say I want to choose label for the ID. I want to choose name for the text box and so on. Then you select those control fields for that particular fields, the particular table fields. Then only you drag and drop. So control that are connected to a fields and bound control or data bound control. Easiest way to create bound control is to use the automatic binding features of the data source window. So to create the individual text box control for each field of data and navigations, control allowing user to move from one record to another as well. So you can also move from one record to another record when you have all these individual text box control or individual different control like a label, text box, combo box controller. So there's individual fields. So from there you have this navigator for you to click next, or the last one, or the previous, or the first one, all this. Okay, so each text box or checkbox is bound to one field from the table. So as the user clicks the map navigations button, all control change and display the data for the next record. So you can do all this as well. Which means that you have this navigation bar by using another control under the toolbox. Okay, then from there, because when you have more than one record, every time it's only showing one record. When you have individual fields, it's no more like a data grid view. It shows all the records for you. But in this case, individual fields, individual records, how to show the next records without the navigations bar or any buttons to click to the next. Okay, you can use button, you can use the navigations bar as well. Okay. So the data source windows here used to add a new data source by using the data source configurations wizard. So this one is actually to tell you how to add new data source into your project. Okay, so again, as I mentioned just now, once you deal with the database, your data source window is important. It's really important already to add new data source. Okay, so click the table's name to make a drop-down list available to view details. The table icons change to match the view. So which means that after you have added a new data source, in this case it's already added the books. So which means that all the fields here you can change to different control. Okay, you can change to other control like label, text box, combo box, checkbox. Okay, then later on you can play around with drag and drop. When you drag and drop, you're actually doing the data bound already. Okay. So here is actually to select the fields that you want from the table. It's not necessary from all this list you want to show or everything from this table to a certain form. Okay, because some of the data you need to keep it or you need to hide it from some of the user. So that's why not every fields from here you need to be displayed. No. Okay. So you can select fields that you want. So select individual fields when creating the new data source or after creating the data source. When creating the data source, choose Add New Data Source options. Again, it's mentioned just now, the Add New Data Source. And follow the configurations wizard. It will tell you what's your next actions, next steps. Expand the tables node and place a check mark on the desired fields. To modify after creating, select the data set and use the configurations wizard again. Make the field selections from the wizard. So by using these fields, drag and drop, easy for you to manipulate it. Okay, so data source configurations wizard here, you can choose what fields that you want. You can just simply choose, you can just simply drag any fields that you want. Okay, so this is the parts that you can actually change the control type. As I mentioned just now, from the text box, combo box, label, or list box, which one you want it to be displayed later on that particular form. You just change it, then later on, you can drag it out to that particular form. Okay? So dragging a detailed view to a form, display text boxes for the default text fields. By default, all text boxes, but you can change it. So click a field name and choose a control type in the data source windows. You can do this. Later, we can play around with it. So allow the user to select records to display from a list. So whether field or list box or combo box with values from the database. Then display the information in the Dropbox or drop-down list and allow the user to make selections. The corresponding data element field remaining fields. Okay, sorting the records in a query, select the data from a data set. SQL select statements is generated automatically again by the designer and can be modified. This can be modified. So use the Solutions Explorer. You need to be really clear with your own environment. And the schema file.xsd extensions and the property button. Okay. You have to choose ascending in the subtype cell of the query builder. So all these can be set if you want to sort a listing. Okay. In your SQL previously, you learned order by. So now is that everything you can set it under the property. So execute the query to preview the output once you have changed the sorting. Okay. So you can also click on the field get data. This one also, once you click on the XSD file just now, then you can see all these type of functions ready there. So click the field get data entry in the dataset schema to display the properties of the field command in the properties windows. So once you click it, you can see something again. Something which is especially for the SQL part, the command text, select, blah, blah, blah. So all this data can be checked from the books tables that you have in your demo file there. Okay, so this one is on the sorting again just now as mentioned. You can change it. Okay, binding individual data fields. Okay, another demo on the data fields, which is it should be data fields, this one. Yeah, something like this already. Just now you have data grid, every single records. How many records here? It will be displayed row by row. That's using data grid. But when it comes up with the data fields, it's actually individual fields that you want to display on that particular form. Okay, on that particular form. And then this is actually done by drag and drop. So here is the one that you can change the control type So by default, all are text box. Text box. I can change it to a label. Know that later when I drag it out. Okay, when I drag it out, it is a label. Okay, and I don't do any changes first. So let it be a text box. So which means that you can do all these type of changes. Okay, to different control. Okay.
Oh, means previously is the whole field, so now it's the individual field like that.
Yeah, previously you have all the records displayed in the grid view, but now you have individual records one by one. If you want to view the next record, you need to click on the next button. So in this case, for the data fields, you are actually using navigation bar. This is the navigation bar. So you'll play around with your data fields tree. Let me change my setup phone. Okay. So can you see that you have something like this? So the first one, the last record, previous record, next record. Okay. You have the same thing, right? In this case?
Yeah.
Yes. Can connect already, can run already, So you can do, based on this navigation bar, you can see that that's add new. That's delete. That's save data. Can you see that? So let's do some changes. The last one, change to BPP. If you want to add a new one, just try to add something. Save it. Yeah, just play around with it, it's okay.
So the button also is default like that. The add button, the save button. So is it the default?
For these two, yes. This one you can just copy from this data field tree later if you need to use that, because this one to apply some process here lah. Okay, but navigation bar you can actually take it out from the toolbox. Okay, later we also play around with this. So you can, let's say I don't like this record anymore. This is the one that I've created just now. So from, I don't know how many I have, you have your own numbers of records there. So let's say I don't need this record anymore. Delete it. Okay. Then, okay. Okay, you'll play around with it. So that, oh, I forgot to save this now. Because without saving it, you haven't changed, you haven't updated the changes.
Even if you delete, you have to save.
Yes. But later we have a more practical way for the delete. You ask again whether you really want to delete. Yes, and this and that. And this one is just a intro part to show you that you can do something like this. Okay. Now you can see your real system already actually.
If that's one, then if like one record is deleted, it will affect the other table, right? Just like in SQL.
So that make sure you, when you have this type of relationship, you have more than one tables, you have relationship, then you have a link here and there. You need to be careful when you do your delete.
Oh.
Yeah, like what you have learned in database previously. Which one you need to delete first, if you really need to delete that particular record, what you need to do. You cannot simply delete it just like that because some other table is using it. So you have to do something lah. Do something on some other tables.
Can program like that also.
Suppose yes, but you all don't need to go further in that way for this course yet because it's really considered quite advanced already lah. But make sure you know how to use this to make it add new, update, edit, delete, and display. That will be good enough already at this moment. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So before we touch on this thing, maybe we don't touch on the data grid view tool because the same thing is only add up the navigation bar. So we talk about the navigation bar in data field 3 lah. Same thing also. Okay. So what I want you to do, yeah, again lah, you all take out, add a new forms here lah. Add a new forms here. Okay. Okay, you just add the new form. And then now two things. One is the getting the individual fields from the, you all can see my screen or not?
Oh, yeah, can.
Okay, okay. So you click on the data source. If it is not displayed on your environment here, you can always get it from your view. Other windows, yeah. Data source, Shift alternate D. Okay. So you just click it, and we do the same like what we have in this data field 3, yeah. So that at least now you have idea how to do that first, huh? So without changing any controller, okay. You can always change it, but make sure you have a purpose. It's meaningful when you change it. Okay, it's meaningful when you change it to other type. Okay, or maybe I can just change one. Who knows? Okay, you can just drag it. See, once you are using individual fields, did you notice that once I drag it, this navigation bar already come up for me? Huh? Oh. Control. Okay, yeah. So I just need to adjust a bit to make it like, I don't know, you adjust it. You can always adjust your own after you have created it. Okay. So you can do your own adjustment. So you can see that everything come out for you, the component automatically. It's not like data grid view. Just now you have to select the toolbox by your own from here. See? Data grid, data binding source. Okay. You can also take out the binding navigator when you are using data grid view just now. But seems like if you are taking the individual elements and individual fields, straight away drag and drop from the data files that you have, data source that you have, it's already there for you. Okay. So that's it. I just changed the so I have 6 records, you can see that. Huh? So from here, since just now I changed it, so that's why if I change it to other control, see, you need to see what's the purpose you want to change. What's the purpose? Why you need this? Seems like no point I changed the text box to a combo just now. Okay. So if you have all the text box, then you will have all like this, the text box. It's no more this sign, but this is the combo. Okay.
Can add new things in the combo box.
Can add new things to the combo box here, you mean?
Yeah, can.
No.
Not
But
possible.
now you can add new record. You can add new records here. See? Once you press it, add new record is here. Just leave it empty for you to add something new. Okay? Because now no point for me to use combo box.
Yeah, but the combo box still cannot add new things down scroll. Still cannot add new options in the combo box.
You have to add in the coding wise, but now since you have to display your record by record, field by field, so that's why it's not a good idea for you to use this combo box in this case. You can just use a label box, or the text box for the best display them. Which means that like extra thing for me like what for I need this combo. So you all have to use the best display Okay, best display. So from here I can just simply put in any values. 1, 2, 3. Save it first. So now I have 7 records. Okay, I don't like this record, I delete it. Save it. Okay, so play around with it. Yours should can run.
So if save, it will automatically update the data store.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So,
so you can always see the save button there. Okay, save item is actually also automatic. Validate and edit. Once you click on the save, then update all. What is the meaning of update all? Update all changes to the data set. Pending changes underlying data source. So all these are actually for you to refer. For you to refer what you can do. And some more, all these are just now you are actually just drag and drop without dealing anything on the coding side, right? But all these are bound out for you automatically already there. So once you click on the save here, basically you have this already. Just now you just drag and drop here, am I right? You didn't do any coding, but all this at the back end, the coding is done automatically for you. So if you don't like this, like what I've done just now, the combo box seems like cannot tak boleh pakai Maybe I put the label. Put the label here. So that's it. Start again. See? So in this case, when I put label, did you notice that I cannot do any updates for the label? So you can apply this label to whatsoever fields that you are not allowed the user to update. Did you get the difference already? Something that easily for the user to update, or you allow them to update, edit, you use the text box. Something that you think that ISBN is really sensitive, or I don't think I allow the user to do some update on this ISBN number. So I just leave it as a label, so that whatsoever fields that can be edited is only title, author, and yes in this case lah. So you have to think of the purpose, whether is it logic or not, you use a combo box. Whether is it logic or not, you use a checkbox, you use a whatsoever box that you want to be displayed on your layout, on your design, UI design later. Okay. So I hope you all found this interesting already.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
I missed on the data grid. Can we select?
Data grid.
Select a certain record.
Data grid. You can play around with your data grid tool. Data grid tool.
Oh.
Data grid tool. Okay. So you see, this is a data grid view. So how many records you have here, it will be displayed. If not enough, you have a scroller later. You have a scroll bar here. But seems like it's now still okay. So let's say I want to update now from BBB to PPP. PPPP. For this case, save it. So you can see that this is how the navigation bar can be used in the, what we call that, the data grid view. So the next time when I open up, it's PPPP. So which means that you can do the changes, update. Okay. To update directly. Okay. Definitely, if you say, for me, if you want to show me all the records under one list and ask me to check on a certain records, then sorry, my eyes cannot tahan. Okay.
Oh, so pick a certain record, then go into the data grid. Also can, right?
Your certain record? No.
Oh, yeah,
when okay, come again.
Like for example, the year we only want the 2018 only. So we take the 2018 only, then store inside the data grid. Can.
Oh, you mean that particular record?
Oh yeah.
Then you have to apply some queries already, how you ought to deal with the queries previously. For the select, what's the columns that you want to display, from which table, where, what's the conditions already, you should have conditions on these selections already.
No.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So for your assignment, choose the best display. I told you already, if I'm the one dealing with the data with so many records in one page, up and down, search here and there, happening more. Okay. So.
Yeah, miss, our data source for our assignment don't need to be many, right? Many records, right? Just like enough for me.
Yeah, no need.
No.
Yeah, that's why I say up to you whether you still want to use that to generate your data or not lah. Yeah,
Okay.
it's only to test you whether you can make your data display, and then after that you can add a new data or not. After that, can you make your data updated or not? You can update some details from data, your records or not. And also, if the record is no more being used and you want to remove it, can you delete that or not? All this, okay. So 10 to 20 or 15 records is okay already lah. Yeah.
Miss,
Mm-hmm.
does the designing have marks?
Designing, you all check the rubrics. You have the rubrics or not?
I haven't checked about the designing.
I can't remember. I need to check also. I seems I haven't put the assignment to this PC yet. Never mind. You all check first at the rubrics, but definitely yes lah. Because this one this VP is actually drag and drop, and then is for the coding wise it's very minimal already. If you still give me chin chai design, then definitely I don't really like it lah. Then you know lah.
Okay.
So we continue. Oops. Moving database project. So improvement from the previous versions of the VB.NET project need to be closed in IDE. IDE is your environment. Copy the complete folder from one computer or locations to another. If you need to move the project from one computer to another one, you can just copy the complete folder. Okay. So this one is only for your information. For any C++ or this VB also the same thing. You have to save the complete one. Okay. Record navigations. So we can create our navigations button. Now navigations button. Just now is using navigations bar. Okay. So now you can create the navigations button by using binding source for record navigations instance. Or this one using the navigator, but later we have the button. Okay. So the navigations method here, you have the move first, move last, move previous, move next. When you look at this method, definitely you know what's the purpose already, right? Move first, move to the first row. Move last to the last row. Move previous row. Move next row. So the example for the method here, you need to know your binding source, then move first. Dot move first, dot move last, dot move previous, dot move next. Very direct. Okay. But for the move next and also move previous, we have logic to follow. Okay. So before to the next record, you have to check whether it is the last record, is it? If that's the last record, if you click again to move next, we should actually move back to the first record already Otherwise, move to where? You have no more records in your list already, in your tables already. That's your last record. But you click on the move next again. So which means that you make it move back to the first record. That's the logic So this is the coding that you can apply. So with this binding source, okay, if this binding source dot positions now equals to count -1, which means that the last record already, still want to move to the next, you move it to the first record. Okay. Else you can move next. Okay. So you have to apply this logic. Same goes to the previous. If that's the first record already, you still need to move previous. Where to go? Okay, the logic is only the logic here. Where to go if you are in the first record already? Move to the last record. So which means that it creates a loop now. It keeps looping from first to the last. If you click next again after the last record, if you move, it will move back to the first one. Okay, so make sure you all apply this logic as well. And anyway, the coding is given already. So if the positions equals to 0, move to the last one. Else, which means that positions is not equal to 0 now, move previous. Move to previous record stand. So the important notes, the record positions begin with 0. The index, the index. Okay, the navigation.
That one for tabbing on it.
Hmm?
That one for tabbing the option or something, moving.
This one just to make one whole things more logic. If you don't put this, even though there is no wrong, but you will never know where it will move to when it comes to the last one, last record, you still click next. Sometimes user is like this. They don't care. I still need to click next. So when you click next, I move back to the first one for you. That's the only thing. I think logic to show you.
I mean, if the user click next also, but still remain in the same position, can
remain at the same positions. Remain at the same positions, you mean? Since that's the last one already, then it clicks on next, then it remain on the next positions. Is that what you
mean? Remain on the current position.
Current positions, then why you need to have move next? If you say you want to stay at the current positions, I don't get what you. What's your logic here? No, well.
Then the user is already at the very last record already.
Last record.
Okay, then if the user click next again, they still remain the same place.
So if you didn't put this logic, then it will stay there. Like your navigations, your data grid view 1. You see, your data grid view 1. Two, I think 2 you have the navigations. Navigations bar 1 you don't have. You see, see, you don't apply it, it will stay there. You don't apply the logic, so it will keep stay there. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if like this if like this can.
If like that can. It's already give you more ideas to make it more user friendly to apply this logic, yeah?
Oh, this one consider user friendly. Oh.
So to be logic, you give them to move to the next one. If that's the last already, you move it to the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So all this give you idea already, and giving you so that you can come up with a better design later. So you can just take this, no worry. You can just take this coding. Oh, the navigations button. So now the demo, navigations button. Go back to the chapter, the demo. Navigations button 5. Okay. So that's the first, last. If that's next, it will move to the first one. Okay. Okay, if I go to the first, then I want to click. I know it's first already. I still want to click on the previous. Then it will give me the last record. Okay, This is what it means to apply the logic here. Okay. So all these are actually using the simple coding. Let me open now. Where is my 5? Okay. So for the first one, you see, this is book binding source. Okay, first one, book binding source, move first. Last, move last. Next, you apply some logic by copy the code from here and here. Okay, next and previous. Okay. So next, this one next, previous. You just need to get the logic from the chapter here to apply into the coding. Applying if-else control. This with consider it's a single line statement. Okay, just a single line statement. You see, last click, first click, single line. This one is because to apply the logic. Okay, so this one is actually using the button. We are using the button instead of using the navigation bar. Okay. So for this case, I think you all can try it out later because it's only 1 or 2 lines. For every single button here, you only have a simple 1 line coding. This one because of applying some logic. Okay. Just to remember, move first, move last, move next, move previous. For the binding source that you have. The binding source that you have. Okay, so far so good? Or so far so blur?
Okay.
Okay. So you all play around already, So far, okay, everything can run smoothly already, Okay, now, updating a data set in bound control. Adding new record. This is one of the functions that you need to have. Just by add up 1 line of coding. Okay, 1 line of coding. So adding a record, add new method here. Clear bounds fields to allow new data to be entered. But definitely when you do this add, update, cancel, edit, save, you have some logic there. Okay, logic. When add button is clicked, what else button need to be disabled? Or what button need to show? Okay, the logic here. So the syntax here, the coding here is just the binding source dot add new. That's it. Update method, submit the changes to the original source. So it will update the data source. Okay. Cancel edit method, cancel the edit currently being processed. Cancel edit. You cancel it. So logic for the add operations here, when the user click on the add button, the text boxes must be cleared, which means that if you have something shown on this table text box, you have to clear it. So unlock them and allow user to enter the new record. So during the add operations, the user should have only the choice save and cancel, and record navigations must be disabled. So once I click on the add button, text box or text boxes must be ready for user to key in something already, which means that they don't need to backspace by themselves. Everything must be clicked there. Okay. Then After, if you want to add a new record, normally after you add in, you want to just either you save it or you cancel this add new records, right? So you have to make sure the save button is ready, the cancel button is ready, the rest of the button you can disable it. That's the meaning of the logic here. Huh? How about if you delete a record? So delete a record is actually to remove current. If actually you use the remove current method. So you're gonna delete the current record by using dot remove current, and after you have removed it, you update again. Okay, so this is why every time you have the update after every single process. It is actually to update, to tell the database saying that I have thrown away, I've removed something from this table, then you better update it. Then the next time if you open it up again, the deleted records is gone. Or update whatsoever, add new button just now, add new record is there if you save it. So logic for the delete operations as well. Delete, you have logic as well. When a user clicks the delete, a message box should be prompted out to confirm the delete operations. You ask again, confirm to delete? Simple questions again. From there, they can say, they can actually select okay or cancel. If okay, definitely remove. If cancel, no actions done. Okay, that's the logic.
Every time you need to put that message and update or delete the.
Yeah. That's for a better user design, more user friendly, and always think of what you have created, what you have designed is actually for the user use. It's not your own use. Okay. So always, sometimes our user may think that, how come I haven't checked or it's already deleted? Then I have to add again. So the record might gone. So you have to think of the user is not an IT person maybe. And most of the user to use a system is not IT personnel. Okay, so give them chance to come up with error. They may key in something wrong. That's why we need to have edit functions or update functions for the user to edit some typo maybe. Okay, so all this because we think of user side. Okay, think of user side. It's not think of your own side. You are the designer, you are the programmer. You have to think of user side always. Okay. So for the edit as well, to update, okay, update the record. So the logic of this edit operations here, when user clicks the edit button, set the read-only property of each text box to false. When they can edit, it's definitely no more read-only lah. Read-only I cannot touch ma. Read-only is read-only. But now you want to edit, you have to make sure read-only properties, make sure it's off false lah. Disable navigations. Once you start to do edit, you still allow the user to navigate here and there. Later they confused already. They are actually edit which record, they don't know if you don't disable it. All these are actually to minimize user entry error again later. So the only choices for the user should have during edit should be save and cancel. So once the user click on the edit, okay, for a record, for the certain record display now, I click edit, the rest all disable, only left save and cancel. If the user clicks save, the same procedure as the add will be executed, which means that it will save the latest data to your database. Cancel, nothing, no changes. No? Okay. So you have to think of all this type of logic lah. Again, IT person, IT programmer, designer, you all need to always be logic lah, have a logic thinking. Okay. Now we play on this update database. The last demo here. Update database. This one. Okay. So again, you play around with it. Update database. Oh. Error. Yours got error. Did I
Oh,
click?
but I haven't
It seems like
tried yet.
navigations. What's wrong? Huh?
Mine can.
Well, shadow cannot be found. You try to run yours, see whether yours can run or not.
Can.
Can ah?
The update database 6, right?
Yeah, yes. Can ah?
Can.
So start off.
Shadow cannot be found now from my side. So you all just play around first, huh? Okay, maybe one of you project it to me first. Later I will look into what's the problem here. One of you can just project your screen.
On my project.
Okay.
Like this, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, is that the biggest already?
Okay.
So once you click on the, you just play around with the first, last, next, previous, okay? Okay, so choose either one record to be edit maybe, to do the edit. So you click, once you click on the edit, you can see the button is changed. Button text change. Did you notice that? The save
yeah.
and cancel come up. This one, yeah, first, last, next, previous, all disabled. Just now, what's the button name here under the save and cancel is different. It's different,
Okay,
right? So when you click cancel first, you click cancel first. Okay, add, delete. Did you see that? It's actually applying the logic now. You're actually applying the logic now. Once I do the edit, I only allow the user to do the save or click on the save or the cancel button later.
Oh, if you add and then there's still missing box, there's some boxes not filled in, what will happen?
If let's say in this record you click on save, so you mean this? Something like this, you want to save?
Yeah, just fill in one box and then the rest empty. So is it still valid?
Okay, well, click it, save.
Oh, it's still valid.
No validations check, but it's actually to help you to add in a new record. So always you add in the good sample, good sample. Okay. because all these setting, all these type of validations are still advanced lah. So now what you need to do is just to make sure you have all these add, delete, update, cancel, display, first, last, next, previous, all working. That will be so good already. Okay, I know you expect more lah, but more always you can research more after this. After this lah, because within 14 weeks, within 14 weeks, we can do this. Is good enough already, Okay. So when you click on the add button, what will happen? So again, that's a save and cancel. The rest of the navigations button, then disable it. Cancel. Then once you click cancel it, you delete, try to delete and see. So you will have a message come out, message box come out, asking them whether you really want to delete it or not. Okay, give them a second chance to think of, oh, I confirm I want to delete. Yes, delete it. No, I don't want to delete at this moment. Keep it first. Okay, so without showing this at the end, later, if you didn't show this message box, user might confuse whether they already really delete the records or not. Okay, so that's about the update database, your CRUD. Now you can see your CRUD. CRUD. Create, which is your add new record. Okay. I put at the chat, CRUD. Your create, which is your add. Retrieve. Which is your display. You get it and you display it later. U is the update or edit lah. Then D, delete or remove. Okay. So it's not easy, I can tell you that from first semester, I already mentioned these terms since first semester. Luckily, I was the one to teach, so that I can help to connect it until now. You come up with a final product. Even though definitely this final product, you're going to have a lot of rooms to improve. A lot of improvements still need to be done, but at least until now, you can see what is this CRUD about. Oh, you all got it already, really? Yeah. So from the first class, first semester, I keep mentioning on this CRUD, and then second sem also I keep on mentioning CRUD, and that's more to the first one, the first semester more to the programming side. The second semester more to the database side, CRUD. Then now this semester, CRUD for the whole system, programming side and the database side. One whole system come out already. That will be your assignment lah, and depends on how you design it. Okay, but still not yet lah. You still need to learn next class how to come up with that table lah. But now at least one whole idea is there already, Okay, any questions?
So far, no.
So far, no,
I don't have.
Don't have, So you found this course helpful or not, Helpful already, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though at the market, they may use other tools, but just by learning, you see, from SEM 1, SEM 2, SEM 3 now, you can see that, that's the things that a programmer should know at the first place. before they go further lah. That definitely you can have different IDE, which means that different environment, not only the VP lah. Java, all this and that. You can have different environment to come out with the system. With the make sure the system here, I did mention the system. One whole system is actually the combinations of the programming side with the database side, which is your applications. Your applications. That's why for the database course, for the business rules that I asked you to come up with, it's not necessary on the database side, but database side you need to come up for the use of the creations of the ERD. The rest on the programming side, which is the application side lah. So a complete system is the combinations of these two. It's not only one of it can settle. You must have the combinations. Otherwise, you only know the programming side using the. You're gonna have hard time to retrieve the data, definitely. And if you only have the database side, without a good user interface design, your functions, extra functions, this and that, yeah, is not easy as well. Okay. So, questions? If now, then I hope that now you have some idea how to create your user interface already. Yeah.
Miss, is there involved like the SQL query inside the VB?
For your case here, because you only deal with the simple one, add, edit, without the linking of the tables. Not limited to that lah. If you manage to come up with linking to other tables, why not? But as I mentioned, make sure you make this run properly first. CRUD run properly first for every single table first.
The simple RUD first lah.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely not limited to all this. What you can do now lah. There's a lot of. That's why I say still a lot of improvements that you can do based on what you have learned at this moment lah. Okay.
Wait,
So
how to make a new data store?
Pardon?
Make a new data store.
Yeah. Next class we will deal with that. Okay. Yeah. So if you have no questions, then Thursday for the practical class, okay. Please continue to try out the practicals that you're dealing with, okay. And because you need to use up this practical knowledge, skills that you have learned from the practical class to be applied into your assignment, okay, to make it interesting lah, hopefully, okay. So, yeah, Farrell, Kelvin, no questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have.
Okay. So do your revisions, and okay, I will see you on Thursday lah. Yeah.
Okay.
See you on Thursday. Okay.
Thank you, miss.
Bye-bye.
Okay, miss. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.